Hey guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in. We got a project today. I'm sure y'all been waiting for us to do it, and we've been waiting to do it. Got finalized with the homeowner what we're going to do. So today we're going to jump on this big hickory. So come right back and we'll talk about what we're going to try to make out of it. Okay guys, appreciate you coming back. We're here on the that's actually the butt end. This had a crotch knot in it. You can see where it's double trunked here, it's split. Won't be the prettiest of green because of that, but it's still a big piece of wood. 24 wide by almost 30 tall. The goal for this, customer needs 3 slabs to do some countertops. And we won't get them out of this log because I don't want this double hard in it. And most of it's going to be for tongue and groove wall boards, and some may be for hardwood floor. Depends on how much we got left. So we're going to cut it just like we're going to make either one. We're basically going to shoot for one size. It'll be a 1/8 by 7 rough cut, and we'll dry it. And then when it comes to the finishing process, once we get up to about 900,000 board feet or square feet of wallboard, then we may transition the rest of it over to actual hardwood flooring. But that's kind of the goal. Now we can't get all 6s, so there will be some 4s, or technically 5s, and they'll end up being finished 4s. But that's the goal for today, is go through these. Probably going to end up cutting a bunch of cants at like 7 inches thick, and just slide them off to get this size down to something we can deal with. So it'll be a mishmash of how we're sawing it. I'm not going to make it all flitches and make Matthew edge them all. It's way too many. And with this wide sawmill, we can come here and get a pretty flat cut, drop down 6 inches or 7 inches and take a big piece of it out of the way. Do the same thing across here. Get it sized down to something we can work with, a little easier to manage. You'll probably see the homeowner in the video. He asked me to come by. I think I just seen him drive in. So let's get set up. We're going to start making some boards out of it. so cool.
Man, oh man.
Just a very small thing. Blades already. You got to get it out where I get my fingers under it. I can't get it.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. That's a lot of color variation.
That's beautiful.
Had a little more variations in the heart than I was expecting,
But it gives character.
oh yeah. If we were shooting for all hardwood flooring, I'd be disappointed. Okay, guys, we got the first log opened up. We made we made 4 7-inch cants out of it. Got it down to size we could manage. Here's the first finished boards we got off, 1/8 by 7 inches wide. Just telling the homeowner, it's a good thing we're doing wall boards. I did a little unhappy. These defects wouldn't make good floorboards, but he's wanting most of it for the walls, and that's going to be gorgeous. Let me see the camera back here. Let me show you this book matched little crotch knot here. Isn't that pretty? That'd be a pretty piece of wood put back together. But it had a little more heart defect than the log showed, but I think this is probably by far the worst one, because this is where the crotch knot was. The rest of them look gun barrel straight. I doubt there's any defects, but it's still gonna be gorgeous. So I gotta flip these over. There'll be a few that don't make 7s. We'll edge those down to 5s and stand up the other 2 little cants, and we'll be done with this log. So give me a minute, we'll be right back. is what I have to teach people. All my logs been cut for 2 years. No matter, it's still wet. Yeah. Amazing how long it takes for a log to dry. Okay guys, we finished the first log. It scaled out pretty much what I thought. This is 255 board feet, cut 1 1/8 by 7. If every board made a good 6-inch board, it'll yield right at 195 square feet. And we got 8 flitches over there that we can get 5-inch boards out of. Now I'm realistic. I know that like this one, it took a bow. That's the cant itself took a bow. That'll probably end up being a 5-inch board. Can't do nothing about it. But that's why you figure margin for error. But thank you, get the camera down here. There's some gorgeous boards in here. Now there's some lesser quality ones where it had a little heart defect. But these 2 boards on the outside, you don't grow hickory no better than that. That's beautiful. And I'm thinking this is probably the worst log in the bunch because of the crotch knot. So we're gonna drink a coffee real quick. We'll get another log loaded up and we're gonna rinse and repeat. Okay guys, we got our next big hickory log out here and it was right at 12 feet. We only needed 9, so we had 3 feet to waste, but we're not wasting it. The homeowner, as well as I, wanted a big old cookie off this tree. So what Matthew and I done is put our claw strapping around it, got as tight as we could, and I'm cutting off an 8-inch cookie, and we're gonna kiln dry them and sand the face. And one of us is gonna try to count the rings when it's dry. Probably need a magnifying glass, but I'm estimating 300 plus years old. Oldest tree I've ever sawn by far. I saw some and I knew was over 100, some probably over 150, but this one, with the naked eye, I can count upwards of 30, 32 grains per inch, and it's 15 inches to the heart, so do the math. That's pretty old. So we're gonna whack this off here and probably trim the other end down to the 9'6" we need. We're gonna get it up there and make some boards. Now you can see it's got a pretty serious crack in it. So when I cut my cants, I'm gonna try to bear that in mind, that crack, I've already cut 2 foot off of it and it's still traveling inward. So I want to try to get 6 inches above this and 6 inches below it and I'm gonna end up wasting some, and that's what I'm gonna waste is that little crack right through there. So, oh, hang on to your ears. This thing is loud. There she is. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching, saw through these big logs this morning. We've got 2 9-footers and a 7-footer left. We're gonna work on tomorrow. It's actually Memorial Day for us, so we're gonna get out here just a little bit early. But man, it's some beautiful stuff. It goes without saying, this hickory is hard as a rock. We run it through the edge of there, and granted, the edger blades are dull. It's time to swap them out and sharpen them. But it was grumbling, let me tell you. It was really grumbling. I like sawing it, but it takes a lot of blades. I think we're on blade 3 so far today, Matthew. About 1,000 more feet, and we're already about finished with our 3rd blade. So you got to factor that in. Tell the customer's here watching us saw, and that makes it go a lot better. He's seen how slow I was sawing them wide boards. I said, This is why we charge so much, but it takes time. I can't hustle through this. I just got to wait on it. As soon as you try to force your way through there with a semi-dull blade, you're getting this, and I can't tolerate that. So that's gonna do it for today, guys. We're gonna, like I say, we're gonna quit a little early. We'll be back in the morning, get these 3 finished up, and we'll wrap up this video. Thanks. See you shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. We got started without talking. We got a bunch to do this morning. Hope you enjoyed watching us saw through this big hickory. Now, let's talk about sawdust. We're running a vacuum system, and you see me running around with a blower still blowing everything off. This hickory is kind of the perfect storm of sawdust. It's everything going against you at once. The tree is sopping wet. Now, I know for a fact this tree has been cut for 8 months because it come down in Hurricane Helene. Customer had a contractor cut it up. They hauled it to us, and we set it on skids out here, and you've seen it in multiple videos sitting there. And this wood is still in the 50% range of moisture. Secondly, it's hickory, so you have to saw slow. You cannot be aggressive with this wood, at least a little bit aggressive, and your blade can't handle it because it is so hard. Thirdly is a Turbo 7 needs a certain amount of speed to get the sawdust extracted, and by us having to go slow because it's hard, then it's leaving this pile of sawdust. Can't be helped. It's just part of sawing hickory, and it is so wet, sometimes I have to rub it to get it to break loose from the wood. It's bonded back to the substructure of the wood. But that's why you charge extra for sawing hickory. Multiple reasons. You saw it slow, you're hard on blades, there's a lot of extra cleanup, so you can't saw this for the same price you saw a nice clean red oak, white oak, poplar. Just something you'll learn over time. I know when somebody mentions hickory, everything in my brain, the price went up because everything you do is harder exponentially. But we love sawing it. You can see what it's yielded. It's some of the prettiest hickory Matthew and I have ever sawn. Very minimal defects, a little bit here and there, especially around the heart. But we're fortunate that the customer's got 2 applications, wallboards, floorboards. And that's what we talked to him about yesterday. It's all these that are wormy, maybe cracked a little bit. I said, we'll use all of them for wallboards first, and we'll save the best for last to run for hardwood flooring. So that helps, because if we was going for hardwood flooring, we'd probably throw it away 5% more than we have, just because it wouldn't make a floor. But if it'll hold together and you can get a nail in it, it'll make a wallboard. But I don't know if we discussed that earlier. That's kind of the way we're sawing this. We're sawing it with the intention we're going to make both. And they're going to be both the same size. A finished 6-inch tongue and groove, V-groove, and a finished 6-inch hardwood floor. And we'll make the determination months down the road when it's dry and ready to run, which ones we're going to do which with. So, enough talking. Let's get these unloaded. Matthew pointed out we got one more 9-foot log, and then we got a 7-foot piece. And the reason we ended up with a 7-foot piece, they dropped off one that's almost 17 foot long, and we took 9.5 out of it yesterday and run it. And the 7-foot piece we're going to save for hardwood flooring. It's a beautiful log. And I know the dimensions. He needs, what do you say, 94 inches on his wallboards, floor to ceiling. So the 7s will just all be, or that 7-foot log will basically be all hardwood flooring. So, anything else you want to add to that, Matthew?
Yeah, this tree's just old.
Yeah, this thing is old. We cut some big cookies. They're laying out here. We haven't even got them out of the yard yet. There's something special gonna come of those. We took our strapping and ratchet strapped around them super tight, and then chopped them off. We'll stick them in the kiln, let them dry. I know they're gonna crack split, but for the end purpose, it'll be perfectly acceptable. So let's get to work. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. This has been a lot of fun. I don't know if we filmed any. The homeowner and his wife came by, and that was great. We got to discuss some things. They made a last minute change on this 7-foot log. We talked about making hardwood flooring out of it. That's a little thick for hardwood. That's 2.5 inches thick by 9 inches wide. They changed their mind. They wanted to do a table. So Matthew and I threw that log up there. I guess you filmed some of it, didn't you? And we basically made a couple 9-inch cants out of it and cut them 2.5 by 9 wide. And we'll dry them. And I give him the option. We could make big wide slabs like this, but he was going to have somebody build the table. I said, you're going to pay me or you're going to pay him to plane and smooth and get those boards ready to go. I said, if we cut them at 9, Matthew and I can run them through our winding molder and make them perfect 2x8s. And when you drop them off at the guy's shop, he shouldn't have any trouble making a table. There's plenty there. Might could even make a desk out of some of it. The wood was exceptional. We've talked repeatedly about how old this tree was. Total square footage out of 5 or 6 logs. I think it was 6.
But it's all one tree.
Yeah, this was one tree, monster. We yielded 1,776 board feet, and that's a full stack out there of 1 1/8 by 7s, another almost full stack of 1 1/8 by 7s, or 1 1/8 by 5s. These 3 slabs for the countertop, as well as the 2.5 inch slabs for the table. Outside, we made 3 big cookies. One of them's mine, I'm gonna keep. And those are gonna dry, and we'll bring them back in and we'll try to cut the tops off of them, make them good and slick, and we'll use them for dated storyboard. We'll cover that in another video. And we had 2 oblong slabs that his wife just loved, but we were gonna just throw them away. But ended up she liked them. We're gonna dry them and we'll cut them in half, and they'll make, what'd you say, about 24 wide by 33, 34 foot long, 2.5 inch, maybe 3 inch coffee tables. And we'll try to cover that after it's dried. So that's a lot of square footage, guys, or board footage out of that log. I've tickled our tree. Quality wise, what'd you say? 60, maybe 65% number 1 grade type stuff. And then we had, typical hickory, got bug holes, little ant holes, worm holes, a little bit of heart defect. But for his end use, it's gonna be perfect. Because we're gonna saw some of our logs to make up the difference of what he needs. And we're gonna take the best of the best and try to make, what did he tell me, around
600 and something board feet.
Yeah, around 650 square feet of number 1 white oak hardwood flooring, and then we need about 1,000 square feet of 1, 2, 3 grade wallboards. And any of the things that is not a good number 1, it'd be a perfect wallboard. So there'll be no waste. It should dry good. I mean, I've never cut a tree this old, this tight of grain. I mean, you can't even see it. It's so tight. But we'll see how it does dry. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. And it's a workout. The boards wasn't too bad, but hogging off these big slabs are cants. They're cants for a reason. But I enjoy working for a homeowner that don't mind coming by and seeing what we're doing, seeing the quality of their wood they're going to get back. So there's no surprises. And is willing to pay. He come by to pay me. I said, well, let me get finished up today, and we'll cover the cost of the sawing, and then there'll be more cost drying and motor planing. But excellent people to work for. Couldn't ask for no better. They're tickled to death, and we're tickled to death to work for them. What else, Matthew? Anything we're missing here?
Not that I know of.
Everybody wants to hear you talk.
Just hard hickory. We've gone through, 5 blades now? And we've still got another 600 feet to go.
Yeah, that's another thing. You'll go through some blades with this hickory. There's a lot of them. The blades were fine. Nothing wrong with them. They just get dull. This wood is so hard. I will say with the 70, we run them a lot longer than I ever would have on a 35, but there's a lot more horsepower pulling that duller blade through there. But we still used, I think this is our 5th blade, and with what we've got left up our saw, we'll go through at least 1 or 2 more. And you gotta factor that in as either an extra cost or add it into your, cost per board foot of sawing it. However you want to do it, as long as you get it added in there. And it was good that the homeowner come by and he could see how slow we were sawing. I mean, I was trying to be very steady with the cut. I was actually using the cruise control. The smoother you can be, the smoother cuts you'll have. But it just takes time. Morning, Leroy. It's raining today. Where you at, Leroy? He is a wet mess. The dog loves water unless you put out a clean pool with clean water in it, and he won't get nowhere near it. But a red mud hole, he's belly deep in it. But guys, we greatly appreciate you watching. Thanks to all our subscribers. We've had some since day one. Guys, we appreciate you. We had some that just subscribed this week. Appreciate you tuning in to Bearded Lumber. I hope you find value in what we do. We're not here to joke, laugh, and mess around. We're here to work. Matthew and I run a business. This is a sawmill business. It's not a YouTube channel that saws some wood. We have to saw logs, saw lumber, dry lumber, run it through our folder planer to put food on the table. So if you want to learn about sawmilling from somebody that's truly making a living and feeding my family as well as Matthew's, that's what we're here doing. It's real world. Things break. We bought a brand new LT70. We love it, but we also have some struggles with it. And, it's just real world. It happens. But big shout out to WoodMizer. We couldn't do it without them. They're a big help to our channel. Like I said, we had some issues with this mill, and they was there in lockstep helping us get it straightened out. And we greatly appreciate that. As always, we was running a WoodMizer Turbo 7 saw blade. You can call WoodMizer, you can call your local dealer. I like dealing with Joe Maine. He's a person I can call, and he'll answer his phone. He's the blade expert that works for WoodMizer, and he'll take my order right over the phone. I can order parts and different things from him. And if you're looking at a new mill, a new edger, a new sharpener setter, a kiln, give Joe a call. He'll be glad to help you out. If he can't answer your question, he'll put you in touch with somebody at WoodMizer that knows what they're talking about. So, big shout out to Matthew and Solomon doing our videos. Can't thank them enough. If you get a chance, check out Solomon's channel, Third Beard Fishing. I hope to get back down to Florida to see them this year. We'll see. We've been so busy here lately. But we won't go back down and do some fishing while he's catching lots of fish. But
better get him up here.
Or get Solomon to come up here. If you don't know by now, Matthew did another thing. He bought another bass boat.
Another.
That's the third boat this year he's had his name on. So we took it out to the lake over Memorial Day. Just a proof of concept. Put it in the water, make sure it run, make sure it float. And we had some issues, but we was tickled to death with it. We worked on it yesterday, got it running good. We hadn't filmed any videos.
I filmed carpet and stuff.
Yeah, the carpet, like most bass boats, carpet's rotted off. But we steam cleaned it, and there's carpet laying out in my yard that somebody needs to go clean up. But as we steam cleaned it, the carpet just exploded and just flew everywhere, which makes it easy when you go to replace it, it's not there. So that may be in a future video. If you guys are interested, drop a comment down below. We're sawmilling, but we're also living. Matthew's got Mordecai, young boy. There's things going on in my life, his life, just like yours. Luckily, we've just finished up ball. We had two granddaughters and a grandson playing baseball and softball. They run us to death for a couple weeks, and then they had their championship game the other night. The oldest granddaughter. We got there at 6 o'clock, didn't leave till 10. They played a doubleheader, and the first game went into double overtime, the extra innings. And we played so long that the lights at that field go off at 10 o'clock. The lights went off, and they said, okay, game over, we're done. But we enjoyed it. We're just real people, guys. If you would, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.